Hey, welcome. This is Derek Pilger. I am the founder of Magenta Trader Software. And if you do me one favor, I'm just going to do a quick audio video test that just give me a thumbs up, a yes, or anything that we have good audio and video, and we will proceed. So I'll take a look at the general comments. Looks good. Thank you very much. Once again, I am the founder of Magenta Trader Software. What is Magenta Trader? It is a seasonality software, but it also combines a Magenta channel of range trading, and I'll explain both of them. As much as I believe in seasonality, I cannot consistently make money with seasonality alone. So I tried to come up with a system, and I'm going to show you on my screen 5 steps. Okay? I'll print out these steps for you a little bit later on, but let's just take a look at it. I'm currently looking at a chart on Magenta Trader of Lulu, L-U-L-U, and I'm looking at a 1-year chart. Today's date is here in the middle with this blue line. I have 6 months in the past of candlesticks, end of day, and I have 6 months into the future. I always have today's date in the center. I have a yellow line, which is a 10-year seasonal line. So if you just think about if you average based on percentage what the stock did and you average them all, that is what the yellow line represents. The green line represents a 5-year. So sometimes the more current should be weighted even more. I have it 6 months into the past, and I have it 6 months into the future. The red and green columns represent, I have it set for 40 days on this particular chart, and I'm looking at a 40-day time period, and the greens are the best uphill trades, and the red is the best downhill trade. And if I put my cursor over the first green column, I see, and you'll see this heads-up display where you'll see this red tab, and to the right of the red tab, it has it from August 25th to August 20th. This stock over the last 6 years has gone up 6 times, an average of 24.7%. To me, this is a good starting point for no matter how you trade. If you're 6-0, 8-0, 10-0, 9-1, and going up a substantial percentage, I want to know that. So this is a very good starting point. Oh, I can also now zoom in. I see that I have a big seasonal move coming up. And this is a stock that we've been watching. I'll show you how you can track that as well too. So I'm going to zoom in on this gray area. We see the Magenta channel, and the Magenta channel is, I guess the closest thing is to linear regression, but substantially better. And I'll explain on a couple other charts why we use the Magenta channel, but it helps us devise an overbought and oversold. Now I'm bringing up Lulu not for the first time. One of the things that I believe as a software provider is that I try to look at stocks before they make the move on my webinars. So hence, for the last 4 years, 4.5 years, I've been doing webinars for our Magenta family, 3 times a week at least. I'll show you how you can take a look at some of our webinars. Lulu is one that we picked, and we just wanted to follow it as we saw what I call the overbought, oversold. Overbought, oversold, overbought. We waited for it to get down here below the red line. We knew that we had a positive earnings play, and hence it made about the appropriate move upwards right here. So all the people that were in the Magenta webinars over the last 2 weeks, and I can show you how you can archive and watch the webinars, did quite well with Lulu. So this is just kind of one example of how we follow seasonality. Let me do a second one. Now, here's VGR. On this particular screen, I'm going to ask everybody for a little bit of feedback. Is there any hints at all that VGR is getting ready to go down? Maybe there's some candlesticks. I see where it's starting to slow up here a little bit. But there's nothing major giving me a big warning to tell me, oh my goodness, I better watch out for VGR. There's nothing glaring. So and I have a bunch of different style buttons. So I actually have one that the 8T that you guys are familiar with Steve. So if you follow the 8T, I still use it all the time. Here's my default. Look at my seasonality. Instead of a green, I have it, look at the very top, it's 8 and 1 going down. 8 times it has gone down an average of 7.3%. The one time it went up, it was flat at 0.0. So why in the world would you ever get, an upward position on VGR if you saw this chart? And I'm going to take off the 5-year just so that you can see it even easier. That's fine. One of the things I do like about this chart is that look at the past. Right? Look at my yellow line and look at the end-of-day candlesticks. My yellow line says it's supposed to go sideways until the earnings, and then after the earnings, it's supposed to start going up. And then watch out because it's going to fall again. This yellow line is not included in my data of the end-of-day candlesticks for the last 6 months. So if you look at the last 6 months of the end-of-day candlesticks, I do not include them into my data of my yellow line or the green line. I do that because I want a fair comparison between what I predict in my yellow line and what actually took place. I don't want it skewed favorably. Oh, we have some Magenta people here, so I appreciate the high five. Thanks very much. This is important because not all stocks have great seasonality. So why not just look for stocks that have great seasonality? And it may only be 10% of the stocks. It may only be 5% that have fantastic seasonality. So what we do is we search for stocks that have very good seasonality. So I have a search engine that does a comparison, and it does a mathematical comparison to what we predicted in yellow and what transpired. So wouldn't it be nice to start off with a list every week of a dozen stocks that have had fantastic seasonality, and if it's done it for the last 6 months, I just needed to do it for the next 2 or 3 weeks or the next month. So that is a very good search criteria that a lot of people are not using. Right? So we are unique in that search as well too. So if you can't see it, let's zoom in. I did not include this last candle in the data. Right? But you can see how it goes up appropriately, and boom, it shot down to 2240. Yes, it did. So I actually eliminated from the data so you could see the day before what would happen. So everybody can see this little candle here that's at 2240. Are we surprised at Magenta that this thing dropped down like it did? Absolutely not. We were anticipating it. Yeah, but that's a pretty good gap down. So we went from around 2382 to 2240. Right? So 2.5 times 4. That's a 10% drop. I don't know exactly, but that's around a 10% drop. I think that dropped faster than the market. Wouldn't you agree, Billy B? So now, if everything gapped down, right? Why Lulu did not gap down? Of course, that was an earnings play. Of course, Apple did not gap down because they've got fundamental news. Right? And if you look at Apple, we look at our green bands here. This green band is 30 days long, and I see that in the upcoming 30 days, from September 10th to October 20th, it is 8-1 going up at 14.8% and 0.4%. If you can't see it, I'm reading the numbers right off the chart here at the top. 8-1 is a pretty good starting point. Okay. Now I know I'm just focused on seasonality, and I'm going to show you some range trading here in a few minutes. But this is a very good starting point when you're looking at if you want calls or puts or however else you trade, buy stocks or however. So I know that Apple goes up. My Magenta channel, it cuts it off on the current trend. Now, I do not look at linear regression with multiple trends in it. If it goes up, down, sideways, to me, that's not telling me anything. I use the Magenta channel to try to define an overbought, oversold position. You can see as it goes from high to low, from high to low, and it's coming back up. So this is what we use the Magenta channel for. It is much better than linear regression. It always has equal outliers above and below the green and red lines, and the Magenta line is a median line, not an average line. Hence, it's not in the center. We cannot get in on seasonality alone. And if I look at my chart here, here's 5 steps for Magenta. Great seasonality, we covered that. Current trend, already moving in the correct direction. Third is a current trend wave pattern of overbought and oversold. Then the location of the channel, is it high or low, depending on the call or put. And last but not least, the very most important one is candlestick confirmation, which you guys should be very well aware of. So here's Apple that we're also following. Okay? So let's take a look at a brand new stock. This is HCA. Yeah, everybody can see it on the screen. Let's take a look at it. And they're very simple steps. It's not a rocket scientist type of program where you need to really spend hours analyzing a stock. Let's analyze one now. We have our green channel on the uphill movement. I see that it's 4-0 going up at 5%, 5.2%. That's good seasonality, and it continues to go on after that. Step 1 complete. I'll get back to Apple in a second. So on HCA, that's step 1. We should all be very comfortable with a stock that's gone up 4 years in a row. And then I also like to take a look at it from earnings to earnings. So here's my earnings. And I might take it out a little bit further because I might do an option on it, like an October contract. So there's my gray area. I'm going to zoom into it. Now, I have a data box that's very cool. I love this data box, and I'll show you why. The data box shows me information about my Magenta channel. I'm currently looking at 35 days. There's your earnings play. I look at it from earnings to earnings because a lot of times the stocks will continue. They can go linear for a complete earnings play. I love that because I can make good money this way. I do a growth pattern here. So I can see it in white, 35 days long, which is shown on the screen, which is plenty of time for a current trend. Minimum 20 to 30 days. The growth of this channel is an annualized growth rate of 86%. So, 7% a month. We have some of them that grow much faster, but 87% growth is not bad. I also have a mathematical calculation that you don't have to know math for, but you can understand it. The coefficient, that analyzes how straight is that stock going. I love a stock with no surprises. We call them strong and steady in the Magenta family. If that is going very straight, that number approaches 1.0. Anything above 8.0 is a current trend. We see that coefficient is 0.92. Very little surprises. I love that. If it's just going straight up, very little surprises, and it shows that in the future it's 4-0, you see how the two meld together? Here's the seasonality telling me on 10 years worth of data, well, 4 years worth of data, it's going up every year. Now I can look at the past 35 days, a completely different set of data, and it tells me when to get in. Here it hits the red, get in. Here it hit the red, get in. Here it hits the red, get in. So it's done it 3 times. Can it come back down again and do it for a 4th time? So I love this information here too. This is the variance. See this variance of 22? I'll zoom out so you can see it easier. What we predicted, here was the stock 6 months ago. It's right on the yellow line. And if you look at it, it's currently right on the yellow line. 6 months ago, we predicted the stock today would be 72 and change. And we didn't do a bad job with it. So can you tell me what the stock price is going to be 6 months from now? That's a hard thing to do, but in this particular case, we've done an outstanding job predicting it. This stock is HCA Holdings. And you can see by there's a little watermark here and a little stock price here at the top. So once again, if we look at this, step 1, good seasonality. Step 2, the current trend. Is it going in the correct direction? Yes, it is. I don't want it to have to change directions in order to make money. So if it's already going uphill, that's a plus. So that's step 2. Step 3, can I define the overbought, oversold by the wave action? Overbought, oversold, overbought, oversold, overbought, oversold. It's done it once, twice, 3 times, and if it comes back down, we'll be ready to do it for a 4th time. The last step would be candlestick confirmation. When it came down here, we had a green candle low, boom, you can get in. Here is a red candle with a long wick at the bottom. Watch it in the morning, green candle low, time to go. Yeah. So HCA, that is correct. Hotel, Charlie, Alpha. So there's 5 steps. Let's try another one. The Magenta channel is different than anything else, okay? I needed something that I could find if a stock is linear. I cannot do this on a stock that is scalping or slowly changing directions. If a stock is linear, the Magenta channel does the best job of any type of channel depicting overbought and oversold stocks, period. And I devised it specifically for that function. I always have 10% above and 10% below. But it's very specific. It won't help you out. You know, you have some other channels when the stock is scalping. That will help you out there. No, this won't do it. This will help you out when the stock is going linear. And I love making money on a stock that has a specific direction. There's no surprises. Let's take a look at another one. I'm trying to monitor some of the questions, and I'll take a more liberal approach to answering all the questions as soon as I'm done, which won't be too long. What's the first thing that I notice with this particular stock? I see that today's date here is in the center. Has it done a pretty good job following what we predicted? It goes up and down, and here it is before earnings. It's supposed to start going up. So we're anticipating this upward move. And it's making a beautiful uphillward move. And you know what? The party's not over. Look how long it's gone up in the past. Somebody might say, oh, I've missed the party. You know, there's no sense getting into it. but I am reassured that it's done it the last 5 years, the last 10 years in a row. How fast is it moving up? You know, a mediocre 68%, but I do see the wave pattern developing here. So I will wait until it comes up to the green candle, comes back down again, and this stock will be primed to get into. 5 steps. Seasonality, check, 8 and 1. Step 2, can I see a wave pattern? Yes, I can. Step 3, of course, number 2, excuse me, is the current trend is going in the right direction. 3 is the wave channel. Next is to make sure it's in the right location of the magenta channel. So it needs to be down here around the red line. And step 5 is candlestick confirmation. Okay. Now, how do I find these stocks? I have a screener. On the screener, if I hit the load button, I'll explain this too. I have introductory webinars that I do every week, about 2 or 3 times a month. And I explain this in more detail. On the load button, I have a whole bunch of different searches for different techniques. Strong and steady up is fantastic. If I want seasonal moves up with positive areas, or my basic 4. I love the basic 4. In the basic 4, it just looks for stocks that have enough years for seasonality, because I am a seasonality software. I look also for volume because I want liquidity. I don't like stocks less than $10. That's me personally. And this third one, this last one here is variance, which we talked about earlier. Have we done a good job predicting if the stock has followed our foreshadowed seasonality? So this shows that we have seasonality. So if I hit my search button, I'm going to go through all 11,000 stocks, and I found 259 stocks. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort. So if I hit on the variance button, I put them all in numerical order, ascending. So the stocks here at the top have got very good seasonality. Here's Apple. What other stocks are we using in here? So TGT we just looked at. So there's a couple of them. DirecTV we follow. I have not looked at CTL. So let's just take a look at CTL for the first time. And it's mediocre, so it's following this yellow line, and it's done a good job with that as well, too. So here's my screen results. But now I can go through, and you see how the variance numbers 12, 12, 13. I get up in about the mid-20s, and that's all I do. But it's a beautiful search tool. And I do searches for stocks that are growing very fast. So if I were to go to my screener and I want to add something where find stocks that are growing fast, the current trend. So I can do here's the season area, stocks that have got great upcoming seasonal plays. So if I want to find a stock, this growth in the K line, I can say OK. And I've set this to an annualized growth rate of around 68 and a max of 500. And I click OK. So instead of hitting the variance, I can hit the growth in the K line once, twice, and I can see stocks that are growing very fast. We've been trading ACHN. Here it is at the top. See the growth in K, 262. And look at it from earnings on. And from earnings on, this is growing. It doesn't look very fast, but if you look at the numbers, this stock over the last 25 days has gone from, I know it's a $12 stock, but it's gone from $7 up to $12. Now, it might be plateauing off. You can read the candlesticks, consolidation, whatever it is, but that's good to know. You see how it does a plateau. It goes a step here. It rises, consolidates, rises, consolidates, rises, consolidates. Is it possible it could rise one more time? It did it once, twice, 3 times. So these are things that you want to know. If a stock is going at an annualized growth rate of 945%, I need to know that, and that's what comes out in the search. Any questions? Because I'm going to get to another part here. There's more, as the late Steve Jobs would say. One more thing. This stock is going to continue to go up. You know, I do webinars when we do a detailed analysis of it, what to do, and I'll show you. Let me look at that now. If I go over to my home page, this is my home page, magentatrader.com. If you, my splash page. And let me get out of Chrome here 1 second. I'm learning new things on the so I'm just trying out for some reason while I have this webinar on, it's not letting me go into my home page, and okay, there we go. Patience. You can see on any of these pages here that I have a Steve Bigelow webinar, and if you click for more information, you can see about buying stocks. But here's one thing I wanted to show you. Later, Ditto 4X, more info. On this particular page is what we have is a Ditto account. It's something that I've offered our Magenta followers. What a Ditto account is, an electronic account that's your personal account that nobody has access to but yourself. Electronically dittos our trades. We use Pepperstone as a trading platform. And you can see various information about that. But here, let's take a look at the returns. What type of return on your portfolio, or if you had any type of fund, would you? Hey, Ron, how you doing? I see we have one of our other Magenta followers. We do appreciate it. So just type in some numbers. Tell me what you would be satisfied with, that you would be happy with. Not satisfied, but that you would be happy with, that your entire portfolio changed. And feel free to give me some feedback. And be honest with it right here, and let's just do a little exercise. So if you had a successful year, did you add 50% to it? Did you double your account? Whatever it is. What we are offering our Magenta followers is access to our Forex Ditto trading. This is the last almost 12 months, from September 25th up to today's date, of what our fund is. And you can see it has gained 92.79%. It has a 10-year track record. The least year that it gained was 88%. The best year that it gained 208%, I believe is what it was. So a beautiful track record. If this is of interest to you, instead of doing a typical charge in the products page, we do a charge of $4.95. What I've done for our Magenta followers, because they supported me with Magenta, is basically they are not getting charged for this for the first year. They can enter it, and if the account doubles at the end of the year, then they owe us the $4.95 for 6 months, basically $1,000 a year. But dime until after it's doubled. If it takes 13 months to double, so be it. They don't get billed then. If you would like to be on the list that has access to an account that has got one of the best and it's verifiable, you can go to our website and you can take a look at all of the information on it. And all you have to do is go to magentatrader.com, go over to the products page. Under the products page, Magenta Trader Ditto Forex. If you want to be on that list where you can have an account, where I like still trading on my own, but I also like to have an account that's doing something different, right? And if I can rely on that second account to double every year, that to me is great diversification. Betsy, how you doing? I see Don, a couple other faces I recognize from our webinars. Now, in order to do that, all you have to do is, they'll show you the splash page, but you see over here in the news, if you click on this right here, here's the special that we're doing. Our software, as you saw, typically sells for $3,500. I think that is too high for somebody who's never tried the software before. You have to take great time, right? Hit the special offer. And here at the bottom, what you can do is you can try Magenta Trader Charts with free Web 99. What's Web 99? I have some fantastic coaches, right? And we have three different things that we offer. We do including data for the software. You don't have to pay anything else. We have 2 coaches with Web 99 that are fantastic. I do a money-back guarantee for the $99. If you try out the software for $99 for the first month and you don't like it, you get 100% money-back return. It is my obligation to get you hooked on it. And if you do try it out, and even if you want your money back, I will still put you on a list because I had a chance to show you Magenta. Yeah, and I just got a note here too, and this is the third thing that we have. So we have 2 fantastic coaches, and they're all the webinars are listed on the home page that you can see. Our second set of coaches is part of real time. I am ecstatic on the potential of this, okay? And I got a note today, they did a earnings play today, and they do a lot of vertical spreads and some jade lizards, but mainly vertical spreads, but they'll do some directional plays as well too. And so, and thank you, Becky, for that link. They just did one today for ULTA. It was 6-0 in Magenta, and it's been up 10% after hours. Fantastic, Ron. Ron is one of our coaches. If you call the office, right, after you get Magenta going, we will also hook you up with the real-time room. This is a trading room that's open when the market is open, and we look at live trades as the market takes place. They have a fantastic record. So we'll have, here's one for real time. See, we had one for Thursday. We had here on Tuesday. So typically at 3 p.m., but all you have to do, if you get the Steve Bigelow special, call the office, say I'm part of Steve Bigelow, and we'll let you into the third thing as well too. Okay? But we have to mechanically let you. So your risk is $99. You get the software. You'll get two coaches, Sue and George, and I guarantee you, you will fall in love with Sue. George, you'll have to get your notebook out. You won't fall in love with George, but he is a great trader, and you know what? That's all it takes for me. And then the real-time room is an additional bonus as well too. So, and the last thing, wouldn't it be nice to have an account over the next 10 years that every year it is averaged at least a double of your entire portfolio? Yes, your software works on a Mac. You do have to log in when you want to buy this, though. So you see, let's say if I click on this right here, I have to create an account. So I'm going to create a bogus account here. So we'll call it Big B. And you really need to do real stuff, though, because this is how we contact you. So I'll create a user ID. So I'm just going to do one for, anyone that I want. And I'll do a password as simple as I want. And then I just have to, so we don't get bombarded by garbage. T-O-C-I-N. So once you've created that, create an account. Oh, they already have my Hotmail or whatever, but just follow the prompts. Oh, user ID already exists. I got it. That's new. Oh, I got to put a new word in here. Our programmer is fantastic, but he makes me go through all these hoops. Create an account. So there's your transactions, all that stuff. But when you get to it, it'll ask you, do you want to do Mac, PC, Linux? Because this is Java, right? With the data ourselves. It is. We have competitors out there that are old school. They've been doing it for years. God bless them. But I don't want to have to download my data. I want everybody's chart to look identical. Do you want to work on it on your little your cell phones? Yeah, I have HTML5, so we can do it that way as well too. Yeah. Oh, people making comment about the login number. Yeah. Okay, after the end of the 3 months, so Jose's got a good point here. After the end of the 3 months, you can decide what you want. Do you want just Magenta? That's $98 for everything, the data, everything like that, access to my webinars. Do you want Web 99? That's $99 a month, right? Or do you want to do real time, which is $97 a month? You can decide. And you know what? You may just want to do the coaches. That's fine. You may want to just do the software alone, whatever that you decide, but you have a ton of money in the 3 months, don't do it. Oh, the webinars are part of the training. I do training myself. So you see the Sunday Magenta webinar? If you own Magenta, you can come in here, come to this webinar, and I train you with live stocks. And I think that's the best training. I also do an introductory webinar that we're going to have this coming up Wednesday. You see over here on Wednesday, September 10th, here is a Wednesday Magenta webinar, and it's an introductory webinar to teach people how to use the buttons and how to use the software. So I do two different webinars. One is strictly for buttons for brand new people, and then I also do them software to show you how I find the best trades. If I can't do it, yeah, the $98, it's per month for 3 months. For 3 months, you're going to get everything that Magenta has to offer. At the end of those 3 months, you can decide and pick and choose what you want. So there's no other charges, $98, and at the end of the month, if you don't like everything about it, call the office. How do you call the office? You just go to the support page. Office phone number is here, and you can go in. If you decide to get it, we will hook it up tonight. We just have to do one clarification. We have somebody standing by that is going to, after you pay for it, they'll hook you up. So probably 5-10 minutes after you pay for it, you'll be. And if you have any questions about using it tonight, call this phone number right here, and they'll be standing by. It may get bombarded a little bit. We did this with Steve Bigelow last time, and the results were phenomenal. And we still, and you can tell from people in the audience how many people came and that are still with us. So I didn't know how you guys found out about this. I did not tell anybody at Magenta that this was going on, but it's a good thing. Let's do some question and answers as well, too. I'll do some question and answers about the software, about the product. So I'll take time to look at this. Vicki, did I answer your question? I have to look at it. Yeah. If I come over here, it's $98 a month. So you'll get billed $98. For the next 3 months, that's all you'll get billed. You will get access to everything that Magenta has to offer for those 3 months. At the end of the 3 months, if you want to do one of them, 2 of them, 3 of them, it's your decision. Basically, they're $98, $99, $97. Yeah, let's get a little bit of history. Thanks, Sheldon. I was a coach for another seasonal software company about 5 years ago. I wanted to do things different, come out with something Java, using current technology. I used to work for a company called Best Choice. Okay? I was a coach there. I do have a good math background. I did my undergraduate in business, but my master's degree is in information systems and a heavy emphasis on mathematics. And I wanted to come out with a Java program. I started about 4.5 years ago. And I basically saved up some money trading. Thank God Apple did its move for me because, you know, it takes you 6 figures to write a program like this. And I have up to 4 programmers now. And I have one of the best programmers really in the industry, Eric Hay, who is a Canadian, graduated from Waterloo and permanently lives in the Philippines. So I actually met Eric by chance in the Philippines. We became good friends, and hence Eric is our computer engineer, and I do the marketing, and we work quite well. Waterloo University. So sometimes good things happen to good people. But I went over to the Philippines because one of my clients that I was teaching told me to go over there. I could get the program started much cheaper. I did, and now I'm back here in the States. I have a home and a sailboat in Florida, so it's hard to leave that. I'm in the First Barrier Island south of Tampa Bay, and married a beautiful Philippine girl who's very kind to me, makes life grand, and life is good. So we have a good following, and I'm going to tell you one story here, too, if that's all right. I'm Dutch. I had one of the people who got into Magenta. I'm not sure what it was, but it was December a year ago. So now it's been probably, 18, 19 months that he joined. And I remember him getting in at one of the trade shows. And dear Peter was a school teacher, him and met his wife, school teacher also, but he was very diligent, and they saved their money working together, and they wanted to do trading once they both retired. They retired pretty close together. And they had about a $200,000 savings that they put in their portfolio. Yeah, this doesn't work with any trading platform. We are working on that one, but it does not work on TOS. And so Peter comes along, didn't know that much about trading, and last year, in January, we were looking at Netflix. And if you follow TOS, I love Tom right there. He's a fantastic, brilliant trader. And he was, kind of poo-pooing Netflix, but we showed that it had a possibility of, on the earnings report, growing about 45%. About 48% was the number. Well, I can't do a projection on that one, but we brought it down. The stock price was around 100, and we said, to be safe, let's do a 115 call. And we tried to do it 2 weeks ahead of time before the implied volatility got up. Right? And I said, please find a way to get into it. This thing's 10-0. It's gone up. All the fundamentals look good. And my operative comment was, just find a way to get in. So Peter decided to get into it. Right? And he did 10% of his portfolio, which is a little high, but that's what he did. And the next morning, he wakes up, has breakfast with his wife, opens up his account, and he's aghast. And his wife says, what's the matter? My trading account. Is it empty? Did somebody steal it? No. I've got an extra $230,000 in my account. There's got to be something wrong. And they looked at it. Well, Netflix went from 100 to 145. And he says, well, what am I supposed to do? He asked his wife. Well, get out, you idiot. Of course you got to get out. Hey, Eric, how you doing? Our computer engineer found a way to get in. Thank you very much, Eric, for the support. And so Peter says to his wife, but Derek says I need to stay in for 3 days because it continues to go up. Don't listen to Derek. Listen to your wife, she explains. And you know what? He did the right thing. He listened to his wife. And he got out. Of course, it would have gone up, about another $100,000 because it continued to go up after that. But he didn't feel bad. And you know what he did? His wife called up all the grandchildren, did the Disney cruise and vacation. She got the new car, and he was living high hog, for the next time period. But he did the trade. He said 7 times he noticed that I said, find a way to get in. And he was 7-0 in those trades, and he built it up to over $1 million platform. And that's a fantastic story for a school teacher that saved his entire life to get a small, amount of money to make a big difference all in 1 year. So I heard the story from his wife when they came to one of our festivals. We also do festivals as well, too. But we have a lot of those stories. So, yeah, and I try to run this company from your point of view. I don't want to have to put out $3,500 to see if something works. I always do money-back guarantees. I don't want anybody unhappy with the company. I will give up on any type of argument on the money-back guarantee. I do a 30-day money-back guarantee. Right? I do webinars myself to show you what trades I think are good in the future. I don't come back afterwards and say, oh, you should have gotten into, Apple, or you should have gotten into other trades right there. We talk about them ahead of time because we are confident with our product. I am doing, somebody's asking, I am also doing 2 stages of the Ditto Forex. We are doing overseas. Anybody who does not live in the United States, we're doing them first. And then in about a week and a half to 2 weeks, we're doing people inside the United States. But you have to be on the list first, else you cannot get in. I love these questions here. Let me go back over to the software. Now that you've seen the software, doesn't this make sense? Look at VGR again. Our yellow line here is basically going down, which it did. Slightly going up, it did. And on earnings, it's supposed to skyrocket, which it did. And look, it's supposed to plummet. And here it is. It plummeted today to 22.40. Of stocks, not all of them have seasonality, but I want the ones that have got great seasonality, hence our search for that, what we call the variance search. Oh, the list. If the only way that you can be on the Ditto Forex is that you need to be a member of Magenta. And if you think about it, let's say you are a member of Magenta for $98 a month. You're paying $1,000 a month to gain entry into one of the best trading platforms, to one of the best managed accounts that has a beautiful 10-year track record of doubling your money. So even if you just had a $10,000 portfolio, you double your account, there's $20,000. $1,000 is not a bunch to pay for that one. And you know what? If I get the chance for 1 month to show you Magenta, that's all I'm asking you, and you'll be put on that list. You don't have to belong to it currently. I want a chance to show you how good Magenta is. What we do is we look to see stocks that have a very low variance. This stock, we compare this yellow line to what the end-of-day candlesticks are. The closer they run together, the lower the variance, and we do a search and sort for that in our screener. So we are always constantly looking. We have, Steve sends out an email, so Steve will let you know, but I think he sends out one post email which you can get the special. So Steve takes care of that. What is the max drawdown on the portfolio that has doubled? It's Forex. And to me, there's some things that I like about Forex that people don't play games with earnings or inside trading and all that type of stuff. It's too big to really manipulate. Yeah, you can do this I think you can do it on Friday. Call the office too. So Steve will let me know when to cut it off. And but once again, what else could I do to make it more intriguing? I don't let people in for free because I found out in the past, if you don't commit to anything, you won't give me the time and the energy to look at this. And $98 is a low risk when it comes with a money-back guarantee. Yes, you can do it on Friday. In fact, it's already Friday in the Philippines. So if you're in the Philippines, hammer away. Good questions, everybody. I do like this. And when I first met Steve Bigelow, I was invited on a cruise with the late David Elliott. David Elliott used to be a listener, a participant of my webinars. Of course, David would have webinars of own, 2,000 to 3,000 people. One of his listeners told him, says, hey, you should check out the Magenta webinars on Sunday night. He came in, and let me tell you, you better be sitting up straight because David will cut you to shreds if you don't know what you're talking about. But David proceeded to do 10 trades that made sense on Magenta that I recommended, that also had hockey sticks up and down, if anybody followed David Elliott with his hockey sticks. But he picked out 10 trades that he approved of, and he was 10-0 on those trades. Because of that record, David and I started a business we were very successful on, and so I was business partner with David Elliott. Spoke on his cruise, met Steve Bigelow, had a fantastic cruise with him, and It was nice to be able to sit down one-on-one without a lot of people there, midnight, and having an excellent conversation with them. And I do appreciate all the people who came in that are still here that came in originally under the Steve Bigelow special that we did, I don't know, about a year ago. I don't do a lot of these webinars. I do Steve's because I need candlesticks. It's step number 5. So I get bombarded with a lot of people who want to do a tit for tat on these webinars, but you won't see me do them very often. I haven't done one in over a year. Not the Elliott way, but he has his own pivots on toss, so he was very strong on toss. If you log in, I have somebody stand by that's going to update your account. If you have any questions, feel free to call that phone number. We'll be standing by tomorrow if you want to do it tomorrow as well, too. If you forget, the special will be over. Thank you, Becky. And on that note, I think we can go ahead and wrap it up. No more questions. I'll let Becky do that, but it's a pretty straightforward, simple program. And in an hour or two, you can be operated with about 90% capability. And then if you don't completely understand it, come to my webinars. We'll show you the trades that we're going to choose. Lulu was one of them. And also, if you go to the Tuesday webinar, yeah, this is recorded, and you can contact the Bigelow people team, the Candlestick team, on how to see the recording. Some people came in late. That will be fine. This is web-based. It's Java, and it has to be. And Eric has done a fantastic job because when you do things Java, if you got 1,000 people operating from one server, and I want to take a look at 20 years worth of data, which we have, that takes a lot of pre-calculations and be very clever. And people have tried to conquer it, and we're the only one that has it like this. We have it for the Mac OS X, we have it Windows, and the Linux web-based, and HTML5. We're all set. I think we're done. Thanks again. I'm just double checking. I think we're all set. I'm just looking at all the questions. Are there some intro videos besides the webinar? Yes, there is. And if you go to the website, you can go to the webinar page. And you see Archive Web 99, Archive Users, Archive Real-Time, Archive Free. And look at under the Archive Free. And you'll see introductory webinars, training webinars. And I've been doing this for about 4.5 years. 3 to 4 webinars a week. So we have quite a bit. Hopefully that answers Harry's question. It's 9 o'clock. I do appreciate everybody staying on. Take the time and join the Magenta family. I seriously take that word to heart. I will try to make sure to live up to my end of it, and we do appreciate everybody. So that's it for me. Becky, I'll let you take care of it. And
thanks, Derek.
Okay, thanks again, Becky.
Everybody have a good night. We'll see you in the chat rooms.